This time we're tidying up some stuff near the firewall on my home-built plane. It feels really good to be going back to plans and instructions versus my own set of rules that I've been living with for the last, 6 months. There are a number of tasks up front that I want to handle before adding the skin to the front of the plane. Aside from finalizing all of the avionics and the avionics panel, I need to mount and plumb the rudder and brake pedals, add the firewall recess in, mount the heater vent, and finish the pitot static and angle of attack lines. I'm going to chip away at these one by one. I'm going to start with these pedals and brakes. Again, back to the plans for these. It's been really interesting to get back into the mode of reading instructions and referencing plans. But I think I know what I need to do, so let's get to it. To literally no one's surprise, my return to the plans and instructions is met immediately with discrepancies. It wasn't too bad. Where the plans note this huge clunky piece of hardware to branch off into two separate brake lines right at the firewall, you're actually looking for this, which can easily be mistaken for a piece of your pitot static system, but it's not. We're using it for brakes. I went ahead and got the first hose completed and installed off camera just so I could figure out what I was doing. Past episodes aside, I don't always like trying to figure this out on screen and looking like a goofball. And I'm glad I did, because I did figure some things out. Things like I accidentally used the high pressure brake tubing in a run of static line. Now, while the tubing is nearly identical and would have worked just fine for static, static line will not work fine for high pressure brake cable. So I quickly swapped those to make sure that I had enough tubing to get the brakes done. After that was all settled, I figured out how these brass fittings work, and I got the first line run. Doing this has also allowed me to decide the best way forward, and I think the quickest way here is going to be to first install all of my elbows onto the brake cylinders, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. A key note about these elbow fittings into the brake cylinders, they are NPT fitting, they are tapered fittings, meaning we're going to use a little bit of 567 thread sealant, and we are going to feel free to crank down on these perhaps a little bit more than we would a pressure fitting or a flange fitting. Reason being, it's not going to strip out, and it's actually relying on that tapered thread to create the seal. The pressure fittings for the brakes are pretty simple. There's a brass insert, or almost like a keter looking thing, that goes inside the tube. You have a pressure fitting that goes on the outside, and then you have some threads that will lock everything together. You assemble this on the end of one of your lines and then screw that into the master cylinder. Most of these are going from master cylinder to master cylinder, or master cylinder up to the reservoir. It is important that you get the order right if you're working on the second end of any line. Of course, once that keter or brass insert is in the line, you can no longer fit the pressure fitting or the threaded end on that line. And so it'll be important to go ahead and put those on and then insert your brass insert, which sometimes takes a little bit of heat. From there, it's simply just making the ends, making the tubes long enough, the runs long enough so that they don't interfere and bind when you have full deflection of both brake and rudder. So checking that all thoroughly and then getting them run. The whole thing went together pretty quick. It was relatively simple. I am not going to put brake fluid in at this time. I still have the runs from the exit of the cabin down to the brakes themselves. These specified by Vans would be soft aluminum tubing. There's a chance I may run some braided steel lines that I purchase elsewhere. And regardless, that's an area that gets beat up when I'm walking back and forth around here. So I'm going to hold off probably until I get this thing in some larger space. At this point, I just need to put a big ass hole in the firewall, which scares the daylights out of me. And that's not it. That's not the big hole. That's the small hole. The big hole is like 2 inches. And I don't have a good way to do it. I have a bad way to do it. I feel like if I let this go on, people are going to think less of me. I swear, somewhere online, somebody said that this was the way to get this done. Spoiler, it is not. Clearly one of those worked better than the other. The fly cutter, not the way to approach this. Now, as stupid as it looked, in my defense, I'd read in a few places that folks had zero luck with the hole saw and wound up doing it just that way. Complete opposite for me. The stainless steel firewall completely obliterated the sharp point on the fly cutter. Not only that, it's clearly just the wrong tool for the job. I went out, I got a new hole saw, the Bulldozer, I think it is, from Milwaukee. Made very short work of it. That thing is amazing, as it just charged through the metal. Still needle sharp over there on the tool bench. Definitely the way to go here. I have my holes to attach this thing marked. I'm going to pull it off and get those drilled. I am not going to attach this because I feel it's going to get in the way of the Firewall Recess, which is where I'm going to head next. The firewall recess, much as the name implies, is in the firewall and creates a recess here for some engine components. I've left it unriveted to this point, and in fact completely removed, so that I could utilize the window here to access different components within the cabin. It's been extraordinarily helpful to have this access while running avionics, brake plumbing, and installing the rudder panel, as you've seen in previous videos. It's about time to seal that window up. There really is no good timing on installing the firewall recess permanently. Leaving it out would allow me better access to set rivets when I went to do my forward skin. However, doing the forward skin would eliminate access to setting the rivets for the firewall recess. Most of the builds I've seen have usually installed it about this time. I think I'm going to follow suit and just resolve to the fact that when I do install the skins up here, I'm largely going to be cramped upside down in the floor space of the cabin. Installing it is some pretty straightforward riveting, except for the fact that it all needs to be sealed up with the fireproof RTV sealant that I've utilized elsewhere on the firewall. This will prevent carbon monoxide and other gases from seeping in anything that may be in the cowl getting through here. That same process will be utilized when I install the heater box permanently just down below here. There are a couple rivets that I'm going to go ahead and set up here at the workbench. This thing is a folded piece, and so I've got about 3 on each side where I can seal this up and rivet it together so I can take it over to the plane as one solid unit and then only worry about the perimeter rivets.
Coming home, any place we wander to, any season we go through, I'll be fine as long as I'm with you. Heaven knows, running round the world with you. When you smile, I smile too. How I ever made it without you.
Alright, that's it. This one's over. I hope you enjoyed it, because I put a lot of work into it. So hit that thumbs up button if you did. And I hope you're subscribed, as always, because there's some exciting stuff coming up. And I may always say that, and half the time be just kind of full of crap. But this time, the next episode, I've seen it. It's terrific. I hope you watch it next time on Ryan Flies.